Well, hello everyone, it's Mr. Dennis. I thought it'd be important to send you a follow-up video to our PSAT training we had on PD Day. And just to give you an overview once again of how the test day on October 19th, the school-wide test day, is going to run. So please bear with me. So it's going to go on the test day, 10th graders will be taking the PSATs, the 9th graders will be taking the PSAT practice. 11th graders will have SAT practice. These practice tests, PSAT and SAT, will be available to those, remember, the first period teachers. We'll talk about that in a moment, how it's supposed to go, but that'll be in your more likely in your mailboxes for those students who will be taking the practice PSAT and the practice SAT. While the 12th grade, the seniors will be going to the auditorium doing senior activities. Okay, the day will begin particularly with the PSAT administrators. All PSAT administrators will please pick up their test materials, their secured test materials in F222, and F22 between 7:50 and 8:10. Okay, so please make sure test administrators, and you know who you are. I'll be doing that. Okay. Then at 8:20 to 8:30, all students and teachers report to the first period class. That's right. Everyone will go to the first period class at the beginning of the day. After that, at 8:30, between 8:30 and 8:50 is where we're going to begin our transition. Teachers, while students are in your first period class, I need you to please take attendance. And then what's going to happen, we need everyone to wait until these specific announcements are made of who is going to move where. That's going to be very important to wait for these announcements, okay? And so, for example, and it's not in this particular order that I have here, but just to give you an idea of what will be announced. Seniors reports to the auditorium, AVP boot campers. There are specific students who are going to be doing AVP boot camp, seniors. Those classes who are relocated, we're using your classes for test rooms, and that's also on the file that I sent. You'll be going to those specific rooms. Then we have those actual PSAT students who will be going to the rooms once the test rooms are available. And ESOL students, there is, I believe, a plan for ESOL students also on that day to do specific things that they're designated to do. Okay. So that'll happen, and the test will start at 9 o'clock, and then the test will end at, hopefully, we plan at 12 o'clock here. The key is starting on time. You want to start on time, want to end on time. But after the test at 12 o'clock, then third period will begin. Once again, third period will begin. And then here are the corresponding lunches that will take place during third period that you see. And then fourth period will begin at 2:25 and end at 3:10. So that's what the schedule looks like. All right. So that's what it looks like for in reference to how the school day is going to go. Now, let's talk about the PSAT training overall. Just some reminders and some things to look out for. This is important for the test administrators, but specifically, I think, for everybody, since the 9th graders and the 10th grade, 9th graders, 9th, 10th, and 11th graders, all technically taking the PSAT. We want to be able to kind of get the feel for the practice test as if they're taking the PSAT as well. So some of these things are applicable as well. So far as the training is concerned, once again, it is the PSAT is the preliminary SAT National Merit Scholarship qualifying test. It is going to be on October 19th, 2016. All designated 10th graders, 10th grade students, and 9th and 11th graders who choose to take the test for the merit scholarship will have to pay for that. And some have already done so. The period administration I want to thank the 10th grade teachers for really helping me out with this. We've begun the pre-administration and should be done in time. There may be a few students who have not done the pre-administration. That's okay. We'll dot their names in, and we'll finish some of that after the test is done. Okay, the test times. It's roughly 3 hours, but it's really 2 hours and 45 minutes with duties and breaks. We're going to give breaks to those teachers who are testing for those 3 hours. But it's important to know, and we'll give student breaks as well. So those students can take breaks, and it is designated in the test manual of 5-minute breaks. And then we're also going to be giving teacher breaks within that time too. Once again, there are no breaks. We cannot break for lunch. And come back, everything, we're going to do all our testing, and then all students will have lunch after testing. So don't worry about that. Okay. We'll begin at 9 o'clock and end at 12. It's important to remind students, and I've already sent reminders out to our students as well, that the portion of the PSAT, there is a calculator and non-calculator. Students can use a calculator, and there's a list of designated specific calculators for students. Students can bring their own calculator as long as it meets the test requirements. And we're trying to see if we also can somehow, hopefully, provide testing material, maps, or calculators for our students. But students can and should bring their own calculators. Okay. The test is broken down into, once again, the first part is a reading test, which is 60 minutes. No dictionary is allowed. Then we're going to have a writing. Then it's the writing test, 35 minutes. The math test, no calculator, 25 minutes, I'm sorry. And then the math test is the last part, it's 45 minutes. Okay. All right. There's a PSAT manual that I sent everyone to look at it. And I want you to look at it really in 3 areas: before the test, during the test, and kind of after the test. We've done a lot of before stuff. I'm going to kind of click through really quickly. We've done, this is a code, and students should have already done this in the pre-administration for our school code. But you can put that on the board if you are so inclined. That's our school code that's designated for us. All these are done already for our students before the test. There's a seating chart that I have that's that will be given to those test administrators, and it's just to give you an idea of who sat where. They're designated. They will be set for the PSAT in rows, the appropriate space between. But in terms of you, it's important that you keep a seating chart of your students as well. Okay. All right. On test day. If you have any students who are homeschooled, they must use a specific code, in which there are 2 students who will be homeschooled, and they will have a specific code already on their answer sheets. Okay. Now, the one important part is that, as I said in the PD, in terms of the security plan, it should go without saying, but it's important to say it, that to follow all the same testing protocols that we follow for all our tests, but also specifically for the PSAT. No student should obviously know what students should not bring or shouldn't bring. Turn off classroom bells, which we'll do that. We're going to have students. We're going to have monitors in the halls. We're also going to have materials. There are certain materials that will be allowed while students are testing, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And we'll keep control of the test materials before and after the use. So you must be sure, because you're going to be counting them when I give them to you. Keep an eye on them, and we have to count them once you return them back to me. So please keep an eye on all test materials. Okay. Read all, and on test day, when you are reading your script, read all bold directions in the boxes aloud. Do not deviate from the directions. Use the manual specifically, please. Do not answer questions that have to do with the content at all, and adhere to all limits of each section. Okay, I mean specifically for the time limit. That's very important. Okay. And review pages from 10 to 25. It starts really on page 13. I'll show you. We're also going to talk about the supervisor irregularity reports, and immediately inform PSAT if any irregularity reports, and that's something I'll deal with if anything has been compromised. All right. This is a form that's an irregularity report that will be filled out if there's happens, for example, a student has a electronic cell phone, and I'll talk about those different ones. The manual also points out the different things, what you should do if this happens. Okay, it's important to look at. Okay, after the test, you're going to collect all the materials from each student individually. Once again, please do not have students pass tests up. Collect them individually. Make sure students do not put their answer sheets inside the test booklet. So you'll collect all the test booklets maybe first, and then the answer sheets, but as long as they're individual, and do them in the same order. Okay. Count answer sheets and verify that you have one for each student. After accounting for the answer sheets, collect the textbooks from students individually in the same order in which you just distributed them. Count used test booklets and verify that you have one for each student. Okay. All right. And there, any questions? If you have any questions, you just contact me, Mr. Dennis, and I'll do my best to accommodate you as best as I can. All right. So like I said, I promise it would be short and sweet, but some important things that I want you to do to please, if you have, I know you've been doing it already, but please make sure you review and take a look at specifically the supervisor's manual. That's not it. Well, let me go back. Supervisor. Well, let me go back to this one first. It's important you look at this here. This is the PSAT folder I sent, and that PSAT folder has a few things in it that's important. If I can get to it. Okay, I can't get to anything. All right, here we go. All right, so here's the PSAT manual that everyone has. The test administrators will get a hard copy on test day, but I also sent you the PDF just so you can go through it. Page 13 is really where you actually start. It's good to look at through everything, but page 13 has a lot of information. It's the actual script. And I've done my best to highlight on test day, for example, what you do for our security. And these are what would happen in it's called the irregularity chart. And so, for example, if a student has a cell phone, tells you what do you do, or a student is too little time given for a student, that they didn't get their proper minutes for testing, what does one do? Or too much time, if you went over a lot of test time, that's considered an irregularity. A disturbance in the classroom, so on and so forth, and give you the answer of what one does in order to do that. All right, so those are very important things that I want you to look at and look through at your time. But as I stated before, this is the PSAT plan that was sent out, and it just gives you a list of all the students who are taking the test. These are all our students taking the test. It gives you the test administrators who will be testing and coverage for those if there are test administrators who have classes. And then we also have proctors who will be also assisting, but more so providing breaks for those teachers who are testing. And then below, you'll find a list in each room of the students of 308 and so on and so forth. So these tabs are very important to look at your leisure. Okay, I hope this was very helpful to you. Once again, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. And this is gonna be a great day, an easy day, and a positive one. All right, thank you so much.